Welcome everybody to 7 Days to Die, Alpha 17 Experimental Build 197. I'm an old guy gaming, and I have been looking forward to playing this Alpha 17 for quite some time, as has been many other people. It's been about a year and a half since they've come out with a new Alpha, so really excited to play this. I'm going to be playing this on insane difficulty with zombies running all of the time. Last night, me and several of my friends did stream this on that difficulty, and boy, oh boy, was it hard. We had to team up to survive. So now I'm gonna, tackle this by myself in just a local game, and we're gonna see how it goes. I'm under no illusions that I'm not gonna die. We could probably die a lot here, but I just want to see if it can be done. I like to play the games on, this game on the hardest settings possible, just to keep it interesting, really, because typically what will happen is, if I play the game on normal mode, I have fun for the first part of it, get into the mid game, and then towards the end game, when you're all powerful and nothing can hurt you, it starts to get boring. So I like to play it on the hardest settings so it stays interesting all the way through. And this is just going to be kind of a bit of an experiment anyways, just to see if it can even be done. I mean, I kid you not, this game is so much harder, you guys, than it was in Alpha 16. So, we're going to have to learn some new tactics, change some things up a bit, and, even just see if it's feasible. I think it is. I think it's just really going to be a matter of, figuring it out and with a lot of deaths, and, we'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's see. We're going to create a new game, and keep in mind, too, this is experimental, so we will almost certainly be starting over again, possibly multiple times before they come out with a stable branch for 7 Days to Die. So, kind of keep that in mind too. And let's do this. So we're going to do a new game, and I've already set it up here. So basically, we're going to call the game OGA 17 EX1 for Experimental 1. We have it on the maximum world size. The generation seed for the experimental branch will be my birth date backwards, and then when we get into stable branch, I'll just make that 1967. Let's see, I'm not opening this up to anybody. It's just going to be a solo game. You can see that the difficulty is on insane. I do like to use 90-minute days. Daylight length is 18. Zombies run all the time, as you can see. Persistent profiles doesn't really matter. These settings here, this is all pretty much just the normal settings. We do drop everything on death, though. So death is going to definitely hurt. I have the blood moon count turned up as far as it'll go in a local game. And let's see, airdrops are every 3 days. I do have the markers on in this case, and pretty much the same settings that we had in our Alpha 16 Insane series. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the game started, and it takes quite some time for the world to build now. Lots of data it has to put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the video right here, and then once we hop into the world and we're ready to go, I'll bring you back, and we'll have some fun in this crazy Alpha 17. See you guys in just a couple moments. All right, I hear noise. Here we are. Okay. Now, one of the things about the this is just the starter quest. It's pretty much exactly the same as it was in Alpha 16. One of the things with the experimental branch that we got going on right now is the gamma is really washed out. So we're gonna have to turn that down a little bit, probably to around 16, we'll say, to get it to acceptable levels. And then we'll work with that. It makes things actually a little strange looking lighting wise, but we'll deal with it as we go along. Okay, let's put the laying claim fact. Let's just toss that. We don't need that in a single player game. We can't scrap it any longer, so it's completely useless to me. We'll put all this stuff over here. And we need to get cooking here. We need to get cooking. So we're gonna do the quest to get started. As far as the changes, of course, you guys will have to read the patch notes. There's so many patch notes. I haven't even completely read all through the patch notes. There's just so many of them. So check that out on the Fun Pimps' website when you get an opportunity. And we're gonna make the one bedroll for the quest, of course, but we're gonna actually have multiple bedrolls. And the reason for that, if you are not, familiar with playing this game on Insane Always Run, one tactic is, to have several bedrolls available to you. And if you think you're going to get in trouble, you set a bedroll down and then, get away from it a little bit. So that way, if you do die, you spawn near where your backpack is. And so we will definitely be employing that tactic. We'll use spikes again. Spikes are still effective, but you have to kind of use them differently than you did in Alpha 16, because the zombies are smarter and they can get around them more, but they're still effective. But maybe not quite as effective, but still useful from what I saw in our stream last night. Okay, let's get the bedroll here. We'll set it down, but we're gonna just pick it right back up again. And like I said, I'm gonna have a couple of these available. Let's just have 2 for now, because I'm gonna need more grass to make the clothing here. Okay, let's get some wood going. So we gotta hustle here. I am on the 90-minute days, so that's going to give us a little bit more time before the zombies show up. We want to stay away from POIs too, because sleepers will spawn immediately. They don't wait. I don't see. That doesn't look like I'm getting a rock for that. Do I have any stone? I need 3 more stone. Yeah, the sleepers, they'll come in right away. They don't wait, and I don't want to mess with them yet. So let's just run around. We got to find a couple of rocks. A couple more rocks. There's one. So we can make that axe. And of course, we want to stay in our spawn area, because just like before, if you leave your spawn area too soon, then the zombies will come in at that point too. We are going to do the best that we can to avoid Z's. But we're not going to be able to do that completely, so we'll have to get ready to fight, pretty early on. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself an iron reinforced club immediately after I'm done with this, doing the quest here. So let's get some wood going. So our two major goals to have in place before the zombies come in are to have an iron reinforced club and to have preferably our 20 spikes. I usually like to have 20 spikes on the toolbar. And then, if we still have time after that, we'll work on getting arrows and stuff. That's the other thing too I noticed when I played on the stream last night, is that I intended to use archery a lot more, because melee fighting in Alpha 17, it's different than it was in 16. The timing of your swings is different than it used to be. Let's get some stamina back here. And you have to be a little more precise, I think, too, with your swings. You have to make sure your crosshair is actually on their head, or closer to their head than it used to be, if you're going for a headshot. And part of what I was experiencing yesterday was a little bit, due to server lag too, I think. And it seems to be a little bit better in a single player game, which is, the way 7 Days to Die has pretty much been as long as I've ever been playing it. So yeah, but so melee is it's different, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But I feel, after playing for several hours last night on stream, I feel like I'm definitely better at it than I was when we first started playing. We'll put it that way. But not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. See if there's anything in there. Okay, there's some cans that we can use for iron. All right. Let's keep hitting on this tree here. One of the most difficult things so far about Alpha 17 is the stamina cap reduction. If you take a look at my stamina bar in the lower left-hand corner, you'll notice that on the right-hand side it's starting to to grow black. And what happens is as you get hungrier, you start to lose stamina cap. The mechanic itself is a good idea. It makes sense, and it's even realistic to some extent. I just think that it's too extreme, though. It just runs down really fast. And so, a lot of the deaths that I had last night were due to just not having enough stamina to fight. So that's a pain in the ass. And, I don't know if other people... In fact, I do know other people have been not really crazy about that mechanic either. And again, I like the mechanic itself. I just think it goes down too quickly for a game. I don't know if it matters that I'm on Insane 2 on that or not. I would guess it probably doesn't, but that could also have something to do with it. Another thing is, with the way the tools work now, we no longer have like, quality 1, quality 2, quality 3, etc., etc., etc. We basically just have different classes. Okay, so the crappy class is class 1. The orange class is class 2, the yellow class is class 3, and so on and so forth. And you can get to those classes through the perks system, or upgrade those classes through the perks in the intelligence tree. We'll be looking at that stuff too, of course, as we go along here. Okay, so let's get it. We'll do our wooden club. Whoops. So food, food has always, of course, been important in this game, but it's absolutely critical now in order to keep your stamina from tanking, from that cap. Now we have the same cap on our health too, but it doesn't go down quite as bad. Well, actually, I think the health goes down based upon your wellness, how many times you die. Every time you die, it goes down a little bit, that sort of thing. But the stamina is the one that I think is the biggest challenge to overcome for sure. Okay, so let's do a bow. And of course, it's going to want us to make some arrows. We'll craft as many of those as we can. And then what we want to do now is we want to find a boulder and start hitting on it so we get stone and iron that we can scrap for our scrap iron, our reinforced club. So here's a boulder over here. Continue to hit these branches as we go along. Oh good, pills are going to come in handy too. Another thing I noticed is charred meat no longer seems to make you thirsty, or at least not significantly thirsty, which is nice, because charred meat is relatively easy food early on. Okay, let's get our stamina back. We'll scrap whatever we can. Inventory space. Whoo boy, inventory space. Pain in the butt. You only have this many slots, and if you start to go into these slots, what you can do, you become progressively more encumbered. And of course, there's another perk that you can take that frees up some of that stuff too. So when I get my first level, I'll show you the perks there at that point in time. So we need 100 scrap iron in order to make the reinforced club. And we also need the stone, so I'm just going to be hitting all the boulders here to get that. Of course, they've updated the graphics too in the game. It's looking pretty good. Definitely looking, the trees look a lot nicer. They've consolidated some of the biomes, so we no longer have a prairie biome. We no longer have a separate pine forest and maple forest. The forests are just kind of combined together, so that's another change. We ended up actually playing on Navigaine last night too. Navigaine is like over twice the size as it used to be. Some of it definitely looks still looks familiar though to the old Navigaine, but then some of it doesn't either. I've noticed random gen so far. The roads are really wonky. I had a little bit of a Moses parting the Red Sea moment yesterday. Because there was a road going through a body of water, and it basically just parted the water, just like the Red Sea. It's kind of funny. So they have, they have some work they need to do on that. Let's see. Zombie AI pathing is definitely improved. They no longer run circles. They still seem to have some kind of a weird glitchy thing going on to where when they're chasing you, they'll kind of stop and pause for a second, or almost act like they're confused or something. So it's still not perfect. It's definitely better than it was. Definitely better than it was, but still not perfect at this point. This stuff is just not doing us any good at this point in time because inventory space is so precious. Right now, we gotta, be very judicious about what we have in our inventory. Okay, so now we can make our reinforced club. We'll scrap this one. And then we're going to start working on spikes now. Actually, you know what? Let's finish out the quest first. We're almost done with that. Grab some more wood while we're waiting here. Turn my game sound up a little more. Okay, that's done. Let's put our club in slot number 1. So, again, my biggest concern is stamina, and managing that. And the only way to do that is food. So we're going to be definitely on the lookout for food. Hopefully we can run into some deer or something. I don't know if I was just, lucky or something, but I actually killed one shot at a doe. And yes, by the way, we have does and bucks now. With an axe yesterday. Kind of got the sneak attack on it. Pigs now take 2 shots with a bow to kill. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so we've finished the quest. Now it wants us to go find the trader, but it doesn't tell you where the trader is. I think the way that it works is if you get within a certain range of the trader, then you actually start to see it show up on the compass. But if you look right now, it says locate trader in the upper right hand corner, but it says 0.0 meters. So that's not working correctly at this point in experimental. So we'll have to just kind of, eventually we'll stumble across a trader. All right, so let's see. Let's get down here, and we're going to take a look at some skills. So we've got 5 points, and the first thing that I want to do is I want to go here to agility, and what this does, that increases our max, which is going to be useful for sure. But I want, I think I want to go with regen first. So let's buy one of those, and we can only do at this point 1 of 1, and that's based upon, I believe, your level. So as you go up in level, you can more of these things open up. So we took the cardio one, which increases our stamina regen. So that's kind of like the old sexual Tyrannosaurus. Now we still do actually have a sexual Tyrannosaurus, but it's based now upon actual melee, reduced melee stamina usage. And I did end up using the power attacks quite a bit. In fact, I use them more than the normal attacks. So this is going to be important for us too. We're going to grab that one. We're just going to put a point into strength as well, which will increase our damage. And we still have 2 points left. I think what I want to do here is we could, if we put a point into here, we can make better stuff, which I'm going to do after I just made my club, right? But we'll make another one. And then the last point, we're going to go back into perception, and we want to increase our range damage a little bit too, okay? So that uses up all of our points, and we'll start with that. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with some spikes now. That's our next priority. And we can make half of the ones we need right there. We're going to scrap this. Let's remake our club. Well, you know what? We probably better wait till we get a little more iron. If I scrap this club, how much am I going to get? 75. Yeah, let's not do that quite yet until we have just a little bit more iron, because I do not want to be without a club here. So we need to find another boulder. Oh, here's another thing too. Cotton is super valuable now, or cloth, because what you can do is you can increase your wellness maximum by taking bandages. Now, the normal basic bandages don't give you any health, but what they do is they give you back your max health, which is actually super useful. So you want to have plenty of just basic bandages in your inventory for that purpose. So that's definitely a useful thing too. So we're going to convert these into cloth fragments, and then we'll turn the cloth fragments into bandages. Okay. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, so these are going to start showing up here pretty quick. So let's go ahead and hit this boulder here. Oh, another thing that's back too is bonuses. So now when you completely finish out a boulder or a tree, or whatever it is you're harvesting, digging ground and so forth, you actually get a bonus of material, like it used to be pre-Alpha 16 days. And that's definitely a very welcome thing returning to the game, for sure. The XP that you get from boulders is based upon how many materials you happen to get. So I think you only get 1 point for the stone, but if you also happen to get some lead and nitrate and that sort of thing with it, then you also get XP based upon that. Harvesting grass right now is actually a very good way to get XP. You get 10 points per tuft of grass. So in the very early game, going around punching grass is a good way to get some XP. Zombies can give quite a bit of XP. I think a basic zombie gives you something like 700 when you kill it. We'll figure that out. We'll see. We'll take a look at that when the time comes. Okay, wait for that stamina to regen. See, our stamina cap is already tanking on us, and we haven't even seen any zombies yet. That's not good. So food is going to be a huge priority for us. Huge priority. And of course, the caps the low end of the cap is 25, but I mean 25 stamina is pretty much a death sentence on insane with the zombies running. And of course, pretty much, excuse me, anything's going to one-shot you if you only have 25 health. Okay, there's a zombie right there. Let's convert this into scrap. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Let's change these into bandages. Actually, I don't want to, yeah, we can do that. It only takes 7 seconds. So we managed to get half of our spikes done. And what we're going to do is upgrade our weapons. And by the way, too, taking that point in the intelligence tree that got us up into the next class applies to everything. So it's not just weapons, it's tools, too. So let's scrap that. We'll scrap that. Scrap that. And okay, good. We're good to go at this point. So our biggest problem right now is stamina. And what we're going to do is we're going to start walking around and see if we can find a deer or a pig, something to kill, while we continue to make our spikes. Now, POIs, you guys. Oh my God, POIs are so hard now. Because damn near anyone you go into is going to have a big sleeper spawn. And there's no longer just 1 or 2. There's usually 3, 4, 5, 6 in a POI. So it's brutal. So we can't just waltz into any old place and, take it over. And because of that reason, my plan is probably to do, you know, some kind of a hidey hole solution for our very initial shelter here. Another thing that's really, really brutal is night times are just dark as hell now. Now they're supposed to be doing a change to the moon, so you have more light at night via the moon, but that hasn't been implemented yet. So when it gets dark out, you just cannot see a damn thing. So what I'd like to do, see, it's noon right now. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to be digging down into some kind of a hidey hole by the time it gets dark tonight. Because it's just not easy to do the POI thing this early in the game. Oh good, we got a wrench. That's actually a very useful find. Got some water, that's good. None of that stuff is gonna do us any good at this stage in the game. What we need to be doing is spikes. So let's see. What did I just do? I didn't mean to do that. So let's keep walking around, hitting branches, building up spikes, and looking for animals. I think we have a pretty good supply of stone right now. We should make some more arrows though. So let's do that. And speaking of which, there's another bug too where your bow will just all of itself unload, and then you have to reload it. So keep an eye on that until they fix that, because it's very difficult to do that when you're being chased by a zombie. Hey, we're back to where we started from. Missed that bird's nest. Okay, so let's just keep taking some trees down. But so far, I'm enjoying it overall. Definitely enjoying it. Very, very hard though. Like I said, we had to team up last night really to survive. And obviously I'm doing this by myself, so I've got me, myself, and I. That's my team. Oh, they do have a new mechanic too, where you can actually create parties with friends, and then you get things like shared XP, and you can see them on your map and see their health and stuff like that. So it's actually very useful when you're playing this with other people. Okay. We are just about out of time here. You do get the occasional little freeze too, but performance overall is not too bad, really. Not too bad. And I pretty much have the graphics cranked all the way up, I believe. So there's like a little POI over there. It's got the little, antenna tower and like the RV or mobile home, type of thing. I've noticed that the couple times I've gone to those POIs, and I've also watched a couple of videos from Cage848, and you get ganked by buzzards. And not just one buzzard, but usually 3 or 4, and they come right for you. They don't mess around. So super, super dangerous. Okay, let's just wait for our stamina to pick back up here. We need 5 more spikes to get our requisite 20. Okay, so that takes care of our spikes. Now we're gonna just need more wood anyway. So let's hit one more tree. Oh, yeah, you can't use eat a harvest anymore. You pretty much have to just break whatever you're. Well, for stuff like cotton, that sort of thing. Okay, there goes the timer right there. All right, guys. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video right here. I'm going to finish chopping this tree. And then another nice thing about single player 2, well, I guess it's always been this way in single player, but you can pause the game too, which is super useful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish chopping this tree, and we'll end the video here, and then we'll start right back up just in a couple of seconds for me with episode 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed the very first episode here of 7 Days to Die Experimental on Insane Difficulty. We didn't get into any zombies in the first episode, but trust me, we will. We will very, very much be getting into fights here really sooner than I want to, but that's kind of the way the game goes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come and hang out with me on Discord if you want to, and come and hang out on live stream. I do live stream on Twitch several times a week, and you can find the links to both of those places in the About section of the YouTube channel. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.